This video is dedicated to new mamas who maybe feel like they've lost themselves and their minds and are trying to find their way back. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Maren. For anyone who is new, I'm a Christian wife, mama, and homemaker who lives in the currently perfectly temperatured state of Michigan. My baby is 6 months old now, so it's going to be my first Mother's Day, celebrating with a little one to hold and snuggle and play with while I thank God that she made me a mommy. And Rosie is crawling all over the table. Rosie, now is not the time to discover that I have a plastic bag. Say hi to Rosie. Now, I heard a while ago that becoming a mom literally alters your brain chemistry. And I don't know a ton about that, but I believe that the God that I serve has put mechanisms into us to change who we are in times that we need to change. Like when we go from being not a mom to suddenly having a little person that completely depends on us. If you kept your same brain as you did beforehand, I think that getting up in the middle of the night to help a crying baby would feel like a lot bigger of a task, and it would be a lot harder to accomplish. So I wrote down some realizations that I've come to of how God has been so gracious to me to change my brain and the way I operate to help accommodate the fact that I'm now a mama. Becoming a mama has completely altered the way I operate, the way I think, and I think a lot of moms can agree with that. Granted, I'm still in what they would consider the postpartum phase, so a lot of it might have to do with hormones, but there are a lot of changes I've also noticed in other moms as I've gone throughout my life, and I'm finally starting to understand them. Over time, I'm starting to see how gracious these changes are, although they felt like an extreme hindrance in the beginning, and I'm currently in the process of starting to embrace them rather than kick against them. The first thing I noticed literally yesterday was that I can no longer quit things cold turkey or begin things and institute habits in full force. I have to take things gradually. I'm currently working on getting up before my baby does when she sleeps through the night, and it has been so hard. I've had to take it so slowly. I started to notice that I just couldn't adapt as quickly as I used to, and it bugged me until I realized that kids can't adapt as quickly either. And maybe the reason that God made it to where I can no longer quickly cut something out of my life or add something in is because if I did that, maybe I would have less understanding when my kids won't be able to do things as quickly either. So for example, I am allowing myself to ease into getting up before my baby. If I just can't do it, I'm not gonna force it because it's actually gonna make me a worse mom later in the day, and it just doesn't go well. Now, of course, there are some things in life I will have to completely cut out or completely begin full force, but for right now, I am just trying to recognize the fact that I'm no longer capable of doing it as much as I used to and embracing it instead of kicking against it. The next point that I recently noticed that really frustrated and made me feel defeated was that I can no longer learn things as quickly as I used to or put as much focus into learning things. My family recently took a class together on self-defense, and I was there with myself, my mom, and my sisters. I noticed a commonality between the way my mom and I were learning versus the way my sisters were, as well as my husband and my sister's boyfriend. While they were all really good at focusing and going straight for whatever we were working on, my mom and I, although we were there and we were focused and we were learning, it was a very different process. And as the day progressed, it was extremely frustrating to me watching my sisters just basically inhale the information and do so well and be so focused and find myself fighting other thoughts, just dealing with a lot of other things, until I realized that it was because for my mom and I, the most important thing was getting everyone out the door, making sure everyone was fed, and making sure everyone else was okay before focusing on the class. So for me, that'd be my baby, making sure she had all the milk she needed, and my mom, it was making sure everyone else was taken care of, including my little brother who was at home with my dad. I had a time in my life where I was a teenager, I was a young adult, and I could focus on these other things, but now that's just not the case, and that's okay. It's more my job to be a supporter and a helper to those people in my life who are learning things and able to put their full attention on those things they're learning. Man, I'm articulate. That's the other thing. I feel like my vocabulary and grammar is out the door, but we'll work on that because that's not an excuse. Okay, but like every mom knows that we are equipped with incredible stamina. And I don't mean like girl power sort of stamina. I mean, God has given us the ability to get up multiple times throughout the night with a baby and be up taking care of that baby for the rest of the day without like dying. You know what I mean? I mean, just think about what you do to take care of little babies for a second, and you're gonna be amazed at what God equipped you to do, because I think it takes a serious brain altering to be able to handle that sort of thing. Something I can no longer handle is hearing much about current events that are stressful and super stressful stories, whether that be through media, through people, or even through watching like a stressful movie or something sad where like kids get hurt. I just can't handle it anymore. And I realized that's more my husband's job to handle that sort of thing and look out for and protect this family. It's my job to keep this home operating. I do keep up with basic current events, I guess, just because some things will impact our budget, impact our life, especially with inflation and all that. So it's my job to work on the grocery budget from that perspective, but I don't need to know all the crazy going on, because there's enough crazy going on up here that I have to deal with. I don't need to deal with everybody else's. And if you read Philippians 4:8, it tells us those are the sorts of things we're supposed to put our minds on anyways. Like when people spend a long time talking about dark current events, I literally can't handle being around them. Like I literally have to remove myself from the situation. And having a baby is a great excuse to do that. To sum it all up, there is a scripture that says, His strength is made perfect in our weakness. And later on, when I am weak, then I am strong. Because it's not about me being strong in everything in life. It's about the fact that God is my strength, and in these simple ways that I've just listed, He has literally rewired my brain to be a mom. And I'm no longer the person I was before my daughter was born, and that's okay. And I will probably never get back to that. But if I really sit back and I look at it, I would rather have all this crazy going on up here and not be able to handle certain things and be able to handle the tasks and the role I've been given than I would be to be the girl I was before. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a happy Mother's Day. This is what you don't see every week.
I know, you look so natural.
Dude, this is not natural.
I'm glad to know.
Yeah, no, totally. I would be a bad public speaker.